Hello, my name is Layla Ames. I'm here to speak to you a little bit about de-escalation strategies as we return to campus. I am from the Office of the Dean of Students, and we are happy to share some of this information with you because we know that conflict is inevitable, and rather than fearing and trying to avoid conflict, we're here to talk about some ways that we can handle conflict better and work together to keep our campus as safe as possible. So we know that there is some confusion about what we as employees are supposed to do when we return to campus. Knowledge is power, and this is our attempt to help participants by sharing a few simple conflict resolution tips. Preparation is critical to any successful outcome, so let's plan ahead. Our life experiences, cultural values, beliefs, they all affect the way that we see things and the way that we interpret experiences. So we invite you to think about how you approach conflict as we return to campus. And we're going to be sharing a few quick tips about how to be able to have those productive conversations. This meme, I think, illustrates just how complicated life has gotten. Back in 2019, you could leave the house, remember your keys, your phone, your wallet, and you were good to go. Whereas in 2020, there's a laundry list of things that we need to remember. So when we return to campus, the majority of people that you may encounter without a face covering will simply have forgotten to wear one or bring one, or maybe it's just in their backpack and they forgot to put that on. So in these cases, a simple friendly reminder to cover their face or provide them with an extra disposable mask is the recommended approach. But what if you encounter someone who didn't simply forget to cover their face? Although studies show that face coverings are a critical tool in slowing the spread of COVID, some people choose not to use them. And that's for a multitude of reasons. Some examples would include medical exemptions. For some individuals, it is unsafe to wear a face covering. And so for those instances, please make a referral to the Center for Disability and Access for any exemptions or accommodations that can be made. Other examples include that the risk may outweigh the benefit for some students. We are dealing with a risk-taking population, so they might not see the value in covering a face in public. Some people may genuinely believe narratives that downplay the severity of COVID. They may question the reliability of media reports. Some people believe that it's a violation of individual rights to mandate facial coverings. But also, stereotypes of people of color lead to racial profiling and real physical danger while wearing face coverings in public. So we need to be understanding, we need to be empathetic, we need to be non-judgmental as we approach these conversations. People have many reasons for not wanting to wear face coverings, and while you don't necessarily need to respect those reasons per se, a productive dialogue is much more likely to occur if you respect what those reasons mean to people. As university employees, it is our responsibility to set clear expectations about following public health guidelines. By using informational posters, displaying physical distancing floor stickers, making disposable face masks available, and wearing face coverings ourselves, we can help to educate our students and on-campus visitors. We can help set the tone for what is required to keep us all safe. And there are a multitude of resources out there, including campus print and mail services. So conflict may be uncomfortable, but with discomfort comes the opportunity for growth. We're in the business of student development, and we know that students are coming to these situations in different places. They're all in different places cognitively. So what may resonate with one person may not work for another. Some people see things in black and white. Some people see this as a multifaceted issue. And while we cannot anticipate all variables or provide a script of how these conversations may go, it may help to think about breaking down these conversations into 3 phases. So phase 1 would be the introductory or preparatory phase. So we want you to consider your safety first. Obviously, safety is our priority. Before initiating contact, do you feel safe doing so? If not, call UUPD, have someone nearby, let someone know that you're about to engage in this conversation. Are you in a good position or state of mind to take action? If not, pass it on. Don't just let it go. Be mindful that saying nothing can be interpreted as approval. So, but just know your abilities. Be aware that it may not be the right moment for you. So engage someone else to be able to step in at that moment in time. And once you do decide to engage in conversation, introduce yourself, ask for their name, make it personal, develop relationships, and try to establish a rapport. This conversation is much more likely to be productive if you personalize it. Put yourself in that situation. Remain calm and in control of yourself. And by doing so, you can control your tone, your body language, match their eye level, make sure that you're showing respect. Emotions are okay. Feel free to display emotions. These can be emotional situations, and that's perfectly fine to feel what you're going to feel. If they make a negative comment, don't take things personally. Remain professional, redirect with open questions. In these situations, be mindful to respect personal space. Of course, we are trying to abide by the mandate to respect 6 feet of physical distance. But in these situations, we also need to maintain non-confrontational body stance, match their eye level, stand up if they're standing up, sit down if they're sitting down. And also be aware of cultural considerations. So people of color may choose not to wear face coverings for fear of racial profiling. It is important for us to create safe spaces for everyone to wear a face covering on campus. Be understanding of cultural differences and try to minimize microaggressions and your stance. Phase 2 would be the communication phase. So once you're involved in this conversation, practice active listening. Listen to understand, not just to respond. Try not to interrupt. Validate the other person by providing your undivided attention. Try to paraphrase to clarify your understanding of what they're saying. Use a respectful tone and language. Avoid yelling, arguing, or lecturing. I think this is pretty straightforward, but it can be difficult to remember when you're in a conversation. Ask open questions. Can you help me understand why you're taking this stance? Can you tell me how you came to this conclusion? So be curious and take a learning stance. Don't assume that you know the other person's motivation. Encourage shared responsibility for safety. Wearing a face covering helps prevent you from getting sick and from unknowingly passing the virus to others. All of us are in this together, and especially as a campus community, everything that we do affects one another. So encourage shared responsibility for keeping all of us safe. Use I statements. This helps to keep the focus on finding a solution and avoiding blame. This also personalizes your concern by talking about real people facing real risks. You may be someone who is particularly at risk for COVID. You may live with someone or know someone or work with someone who is particularly at risk. And personalizing those, using those I statements helps to understand that these are real people involved and that there are real risks. And then refer to policy if needed. You, of course, don't want to begin a conversation backing yourself up with policy, but use this if needed. Some people who think in black and white might only respond to a hard policy. So use that, keep that in your back pocket if needed. The third phase is the resolution phase. Provide options for resolution, not ultimatums. You can ask what solutions would work for you. How can we find a resolution that works for everyone while abiding by the mandate that has come from the state? Has everyone felt heard in this conversation? Humans need to feel safe and secure, to be respected and valued, and to have a sense of belonging. So listening carefully to understand, again, not just to respond, helps people to feel heard and understood. When a person's needs are met, threats, whether they be real or perceived, diminish, and dialogue can begin. And then following the conversation, how can we improve our educational efforts? Can we increase our signage to be able to set expectations for campus visitors? Is a referral needed? Do I need to follow up with this student or campus visitor? Once you know their reasons for not wearing a mask, you can begin to approach their concerns from a place of information sharing and empathy. The best that you can do is provide information and a personal request for them to comply. Nothing takes a potential conflict from 0 to 60 like offending or accusing someone right off the bat. Try to ease into the conversation, ask open questions, and then listen. If needed, take the conversation into a semi-private space or go outside. Suggest that they take a walk to cool off. and then reconvene with them at a later time, whether in person or video conferencing. It's also okay to tap out. If you're feeling threatened or if the situation has become heated, feel free to reconvene or make a referral. Talk about this as a staff. We encourage you to prepare for these types of situations. So similar to natural disaster preparation, we do fire drills, we review and practice active shooter situations. Practice difficult conversations like this as a staff, which will help you to feel more comfortable and confident when encountering these situations. If during a difficult conversation you notice that there are some behaviors that can't be explained, that you feel like the conversation is escalating towards an unproductive place, if the other party is displaying confusion or frustration about what's going on, they don't feel like they are able to explain how they're feeling, if you feel like the conversation is becoming heated, if blame is getting thrown into the mix, if someone is exhibiting anger or hostility through their body positioning or their tone of voice, if during a conversation about face coverings, a student or campus visitor begins to show any of these warning signs of escalating behavior, feel free to take a step back, take a pause, take a breath. And if you feel like the conversation is no longer productive or getting to an unsafe place, please feel free to make a referral, consult with the Office of the Dean of Students, or make a referral to UUPD for any situation involving threatening behavior. We are all in this together. As a campus community, it's on all of us to keep each other safe. We are trying to promote an active community of neighbors who are invested in each other's health and safety. This is a list of resources for additional information about any of this that you've heard, or if you have any questions as a follow-up. The Office of the Dean of Students involves student support and accountability, or the behavioral intervention team. If you have any questions about conflict resolution, please feel free to ask it of us. The Center for Disability and Access for any information regarding accommodations or exemptions to face covering policy. The University Counseling Center, if a referral is needed for multifaceted issues, if something else is going on, feel free to make a referral to UCC. HR for any referrals involving employees, and UUPD for any type of threatening behavior.